So today we're going to go over Reactivity 101, like how we diagnose it and how we address it. And what does it mean? Because you can't really address reactivity if we don't have a definition. So diagnosing and defining reactivity. Reactivity is just that, a reaction to a stimuli. The stimuli could vary between each dog's. Babies is a very particular one. She's the one we're going to be working with today. It's the key chain or an excitable dog. Like just very, very specific, and or strangers coming into her house, which is understandable. The main question we always have is like, is my dog aggressive or is it reactive? Very thin lines, right? Because a reaction on my good dog could quickly turn into aggressive behaviors if we allow it. And once they really have a taste for that like reaction and whatever, then we're really going to find that pushback. What do we do after we have diagnosed that our dog is reactive? That's the tough part, right? Because each dog is going to be different. Sometimes all that dog needs is a no, and that's good. Other times they need complete restructuring of their lives. Most of the time that I see reactivity, and I'm sure some of you guys will agree, it's just a happy dog who's frustrated that they can't get to another dog. Or something happened that scared them, it spooked them, their owner went, and they like that feeling. So once we know that, we have to go backwards. We have to go find some obedience, make sure the dog knows something, right? Come, sit, down, place, heel, right? Every dog in our board and train, we don't go, hey, your dog's aggressive? Okay, I'm going to bombard it with 5 dogs, and we're going to walk by it and try and figure it out. No, we come up here in an empty room, and we work on come, sit, down, place, heel, right? And we set clear boundaries, and we give the dog markers that mean yes, no, whatever that is. So we have to start with no distractions, and then add depth, right? So I've started when we and Liz started this business, we started in a basement room in our house, and we would work the dogs endlessly until we felt comfortable with adding stimuli. And then we'd go in the front yard or the backyard, depending on what was more or less distracting at the time. Then, out in the streets, parks, and depending on what triggered, then public. So now we can start addressing the issue after we've done those things. And so we've added the structure, we've added obedience, and then we're really ready to start attacking the triggers, right? Like hers, we couldn't even fathom getting out of a car with baby when we first started training without her redirecting on us, her just losing it. So how could I start addressing the triggers? But once we had a solid foundation and she knew what come was and sit, I could start to actually get inside of this bubble where she's comfortable, right? Like right now we've worked it up to where this bubble is fine with humans. 3-4 years ago, this was too much. She would have been fully on the leash, like just trying to attack everyone. But this bubble isn't fine. If Shu came over here and went down on his knees into her face, she'd react. She would try to bite him because she's not used to that stimuli and she's not that comfortable yet. So we have to kind of know our dog. We have to learn the bubble. Baby's like, what are we doing? Why are we just standing here, Dad? Baby, come. Yes. So, we really want to start managing that, getting the dog used to being around people, places, and things and other dogs. So that means, hey, she's comfortable over here. Let's work over here, right? But my goal is to be able to, come. Good girl. Sit. Yes. Shake someone's hand. Then I have to work on it. I have to practice that. Come on, baby. That's good. And now, during all this, we're looking for triggers from our dog, right? We're looking, remember the lip licking, the stiff body, the hackles. All of that is how we're seeing if she's comfortable. Just same with a bow, that's showing she's comfortable, a shake, eye contact, relaxed body versus that tail tucked or alert tail, which we'll get her around. We'll have you probably happy. We'll probably initiate a trigger. And then we really just work on it, right? We have to have a clear, hey, no, we don't do that. And then, but it can't just be no, no, no. Because then your dog's just going to be shut down. And we really want to get to extinction. So that doesn't happen if we're just no, no, no. It's no, off is what we all say. And then come. Yes, good girl. Sit. Good girl. Break. We got to give her some sort of reward, some sort of something that she likes for coming, right? And showing her what to do instead of only worrying about what not to do. Because if we're just no, 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 your dog's going to hate you. That dog's going to hate working for you. And that's not a fun place to be. Almost everyone I know has been there with a dog before of I've told them no. We've all met our clients that are I've been pulling my hair out with this dog. But see, they don't listen. Off. They don't listen. Off. Yeah, I'm not going to listen to someone who just yells at me. Those teachers that were just no, 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 no. Okay, finally, I'll just shut up and not listen. I won't participate. And I need participation in life to get what we want. So extinction is kind of that end all. We hope to get there with every dog, but it doesn't mean we can or will. Each dog is different, right? We all have different problems as humans, and not all of our problems are solved in this lifetime. So sometimes we can't extinguish a behavior. Her reactivity towards those specific triggers is a lifelong thing that we're managing and getting better with. 4 or 5 years ago, I couldn't have guests over at my house. She tried to bite my mom, who I like to call my wife's mother-in-law. But after that, we got over it and practiced, and now I can have 10 plus people in my house, and if we all follow the rules, then we're good. And she's got rules and they've got rules, right? People aren't allowed to, hi, I can, she's my dog. But if strangers did that to her, she's going to freak out. She's not going to like it. So we have to make sure she's comfortable as well. We have to advocate for our dogs with their space given. And that's why, if we're ever out in public and you're working sometimes it is okay to cross the street, to not pass that stimuli, if we know that trigger is too high for the dog. It's okay to be hey, nope, you can't pet my dog. We're working on something. And we try not to put the dogs in those situations that much, but we have to in order to get better at things. But we don't get to extinguish without working on it. We can't just manage an issue. So we have to correct and reward for the behaviors we want. I think that gets lost in it of hey, if I just put my dog on place and I tell no one to look at her or touch her, she won't react. But how realistic is that? Every person that walks into my house is like, she's so cute. Oh, I just want to pet her. And she's like, yes, I am cute. And I want her to at least be able to like navigate through that without freaking out and losing it. Because then I get freaked out. And then I'm like, hey, whoa, hey. But, you know, we've practiced. My brother-in-law, Anthony, comes into my house, sometimes not really announced, not unannounced, but not really like, hey, I'm coming in. And baby's got to deal with it. At first, she's like, ooh, hey, off, come, good girl, break. And then she can go greet Anthony. And then she jumps on him, and because now they have a relationship that she loves that guy. So, you know, like, just thinking about someone else loving baby is insane. You know, if you've known baby, she's not a greeter. She's not a fun-loving dog unless you get to know her and break down those barriers. So with all that said, I think I want to bring another dog up and let's work her through it. Not all of it's going to be pretty. We're going to correct her. She's not going to be happy about it. We're going to do some things to protect ourselves. I'm probably going to switch to a shorter leash to give her less freedom. She's got all of her gear on except her muzzle, which is going to go on here in a second. We have a prong, flat collar and prong are carabiner together, so if the prong fails, she's still connected to her leash. She's got her e-collar on, and she'll have her muzzle. And all those things are to protect her and to protect us. Sometimes when you have a reactive dog, it's less like they're usually not going to be able to get to that thing. And when they do, they can get frustrated and come back at you. So we have to make sure we're, as the handler, protected too, because we don't want to get hurt as well. A reactive dog, I'm 100% more worried about that dog going back up the leash than I am actually that dog doing any harm to another animal while it's reacting. Because it's just talking shit. But it's the same thing as like a bar fight when a bro is holding back someone. Who's more likely to get hit in that situation? The friend holding him back, right? Because we become the friend holding him back. So they're like, you, I'm going. So that's why sometimes there's no working through it if they're so red. It's get them out of there. And forget obedience, pressure, follow me, whatever. You know, and we're going to show you some examples now of like what we can do. When he first comes in here, try and manage the shot of her, which is just down. Good, down, down, down. Hey, down. Hey, off, down, right? And you can see she'll just shell up. And eventually, she'll just want to like explode. So there's only so much managing of certain things we can do. Yeah. Yeah, and you know, normally like a reward for a dog could be like a treat or this or that. Hers is love, praise, because she will not, when she is shut down or if she sees her trigger, won't take food. Would probably bite my hand. Baby, place. Sit. 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 Down. 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 So, Shu, see like hackles even on her tail, wooing, stiff, down. I'm at a 4 on the e-collar. Good girl. I'll give her praise when she gives me eye contact. If she relaxes the hackles, I'll probably give her a little bit of a break and let her have some wins. But for a dog who knows all the commands very, very well, you could see her ability to follow through immediately fell off the face of the earth. I said, play, she said. And I had to give her a correction. In a normal setting, there's no correction. She sits, comes, downs in place. But once her trigger's in the room, that becomes elevated. Does that make sense? Baby, break. Oh, good girl. You know, that shake off, that's great body language. Baby, place. Good. Nope. Down. 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 So I said nope there because she's rubbing herself against me, trying to like, not necessarily claim me or anything like that, but like self-reward, like I'm a good girl, right? Well, you didn't follow through with my command yet. You're not a good girl yet. Yeah, and she wants to get that off, which those who know baby would know that her muzzle is like a kennel, her safe spot. So, and she knows she can't get what she wants accomplished with that muzzle on. Because what she wants to get accomplished is to shut this dog up, right? So, Anthony, go ahead and like walk with him. Like just go back and forth from, no, just walk. Down. Good girl. You know, I'm trying to get her some like comfortability with the dog just walking around. Down. She can look, but she can't really like, you know, I don't want her to like, yeah, which isn't her calming herself down. Lip licking for her is actually like, I'm pissed. Yeah, her whale eye's definitely coming out. Lip licking every time she sees him. When she looks at me, no lip licking. Looks this way at you guys, lip lick. I mean, she just really gets nervous when she can see him walking near her. But to the normal observer, she's fine. She looks good. And I can tell you what, she is not fine. She's not doing good. You know, like years and years of trial and error with her, I know she's just like ready to explode. So I'm going to give her like a new task and get her moving because sometimes that can help. Maybe. Break. Good girl. So I'm going to do a little less managing now. I'm going to give her some freedom, let her make a mistake, correct her at a fair number that I know she responds to, and then get her back into a command, and then offer up the thing again, right? Because what I want her to do is make better decisions. So, Anthony, could you do like some sits and breaks with Happy? Just jog around, baby off. So she keeps trying to get her muzzle off. She keeps like pawing at it. But she's making much better decisions out of command. As you can see, this is something she's more comfortable with. Because sometimes I think like when we were managing it, like in her brain, like she's like, this isn't fair, right? And that's kind of part of where the reaction comes from. Like, he's free. Why am I like over here working? And he's the one, because she's like a police officer. She wants to correct bad dogs. And that's like part of her thrill. But she has no off when she starts correcting, right? Like, because, you know, it would be valuable if I had a dog that could correct others and know when to correct them. It's very valuable. She has that part, but she has no like off. She'll keep going. Off. I offed there because she wasn't in a command and she was like, ooh. It's not that she's not allowed to growl, because again, we want our dogs to know, but why there? That dog wasn't doing anything spectacularly annoying, or it was no affront to anybody that she was barking, that he was existing. he wasn't even barking or doing anything crazy. Yeah, just let that happen. Good. Yes. Good girl. I want her to know that even though Happy's sitting there heavy breathing and pulling at her, she doesn't need to care. Good girl. You see her body relax? That's what I was more praising, Shu. I wasn't really necessarily praising that she didn't do it. I'm praising that she's calm enough, in a good enough mindset to like look at him, heavy breathe, which is a trigger for her, and walk away on her own. You can let him like pull again. Just walk forward a step. Yeah, keep him there. She almost went. But you can see that correction earlier set in place like, hey, there's a consequence if I go. So she second thought it, even with just like barely any pressure, right? Like she did the pull on herself. She's like, no. You can keep like trying to like let him be annoying to her. She's in a muzzle. Yes, good girl. Right? And good girl. Good girl. Off. Well, we were also cornered. And she's like, well, there's nowhere to run. So she's loading right here. Come. If I sat there and was like, sit, she would have just loaded and then reacted, right? And I can very easily do that. We can set our dogs up for so much failure by lingering too long in a situation and letting them make a decision, right? So many times, all of us, we walk down the street with dogs and we see someone else's dog's just freaking out and they're like, sit, and their dog's just like almost worse. Sometimes you walk up, the dog's not doing anything, and then they put it in a sit, and the dog's like, right? Like I see it all the time, even with happy-go-lucky dogs, and then they pee all over themselves because they're just so excited. When they would have been fine if they just said, heel, keep moving, right? All I did when we were stuck in that corner was moved baby. And she went from like seconds away from going, right? Seconds to, okay, moving forward. And you can tell, Shu, I don't know, she's still giving off terrible vibes. Right? Her body language, stiff, tail, down. So there's that misconception. You have to know he's a dog. Because people would be like, oh, she looks calm. She looks so sweet. She is. She's like a second away from being like shaking. But her tail's tucked. She's just uncomfortable. Come. Good. Yes. Good girl. Now, months, years ago, this whole time would have been freak out. But with time, effort, and energy, this has been super chill. You've never seen me like, hold on for dear life. Very much just chill.